Okay, so this map here, then we have, it gives us up here a little bit of flavor text. It tells us this is the lair of the Sunfire Serpent. I'll just quickly read it out for you, actually. So it says, the Sunfire Serpent coils through the battlefield, its scales glinting like molten gold under the scorching sun. The desert itself seems to twist and tremble under its presence as restless sandstorms dance and rage across the terrain. Finding safe footing becomes a desperate challenge as the beast's fury reshapes the battlefield with every passing moment. So let's have a look down here. We'll go up here first. We've got the boss mechanics. So this one is much more simple than that second boss. The second boss had a lot more going on with those X's, with that mechanics. But once you play it, it's much easier than it sounds, because you just resolve all of them one at a time when it comes to their turn. Okay, so this boss up here, it says setup. It says that these light brown hexes here, it tells us to place a sandstorm token on them. So we've got one there, one there, one there, and one there. Okay, now it doesn't tell us what the sandstorm token does, because it's on the front page of this binder. So before you'd come into the light scenario, you'd have a quick read at some of the mechanics in the binder. But we appreciate that you ain't going to remember them. There's only two. It just tells you what the loot items do, because they're on most maps, and it tells you what the sandstorm token does, because that's the one token that is unique and thematic to the light scenario only. Whereas in our most recent Gamefound update, we actually mentioned about the lantern mechanic, and that's the one that's thematic to the shadow scenario. So what you would do here as a reminder of what these tokens do, you'd have a look at the shadow binder, you go to the back of it, and we've got the little FAQ up here, and it says this is the reminder of what these tokens do. Okay, but you got the design on hand, so we ain't going to need that. Okay, so what do these tokens do then? At the beginning of each round, and this is the round tracking dice up here, some of you may have seen this already. This is the funding goal that we have already unlocked at 25,000. It's fantastic. Look at that cool monster's eye in the middle. Okay, so each time this dice goes up in value to represent the beginning of the new round, the sandstorms move around the map, each independently. So I'd look at this sandstorm over here, roll a dice, number 2, so it tells us that the sandstorm will come this direction. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you need to double check that, let me quickly find it for you. You do have, on the Shire hex, on the back of that, there's your numbers. So it reminds us that number 2 was this direction down here. Okay, and that is the starting hex for the world map. So no matter what scenario you're in, they all come out from here. You can see this is the water scenario, this is the ice, this is the shadow, light, earth, fire. Okay, and then on the back you got your reminder text, and of course it tells you some of the things you can do when you return back to the Shire in between these campaigns. All right, so yeah, so I moved that one there as example, but you'd roll this dice 4 times. So let's go. This one moves number 1, which was north. This one over here, we got a 4. So this one would move this direction. And we got this one last but not least. And I rolled a 5, so I'd move that direction there. Okay, so that's the sandstorms. That's just in setup, they just go on the brown hexes. Then we've got over here, it says, when the Sunfire Serpent's health gets below 40, he starts at 87, so let's just call that, it's close enough to 50%. Okay, so basically when he gets below 50%, the sandstorm tokens move twice. So whereas I just rolled once, we would roll again, and each one would move a second time. And then the last ability up here, it says the sandstorm, the snake is not affected by sandstorm tokens. So the snake can move around, it doesn't matter, he's immune to the sandstorms. Look at his artwork. He basically is in a sandstorm, okay? So it's the heroes, as you'd imagine, they're the ones that have got to avoid those sandstorms. And also as well, if a sandstorm does get in the way, let's say the Shadow Knights here, and it moves into the Shadow Knights hex, first off, they're going to take 3 undefendable damage, and then you're forced to move out of the storm. So you can move any direction that you like, but you just get one. You get a move 1 instantly, which move 1 just allows you to move 1 hex. So you can pick whichever direction that you like, you have to move out. And of course, you have to move out because the sandstorm wants to come and get you again. Okay, so that's the additional boss mechanics. And then what's down here on the key? We've only got one hex. It's these green hexes. There's one there, there's one there, and that's it on this map. So there's one there and there's one there. And these are called rejuvenating sands. And it says that when a hero or an ally standee places themselves on these hexes, so here we go, let's say the clairvoyant over there is on this hex, all the adjacent hexes will receive 3 HP from the healing sands. So on this map, we've made you spawn far away. You can see that that was spawn point 2, that was spawn point 1, but this map wants you to kind of cluster. It wants you to get together. Now that's nasty for the sandstorms, but if you need that help, if you need a little bit of a top up from the healing sands, Clairvoyant starts moving over here, Shadow Knight starts coming down here, Clairvoyant gets over here, and Shadow Knight pops onto the healing sands, heals up the Clairvoyant, and you can swap it in and out as well. There we go. Clairvoyant on the healing sands has just healed up here. Okay, but again, when the sandstorms start moving your way, you've got these decisions to decide what's going on. Do we keep moving around? Of course, you've got the modifiers on this map as well. And then on top of that, you've got boss mechanics. So this boss is relatively straightforward, but he's very, very strong. So it says up here, when his HP gets below 57, he deals 15 undefendable and unpreventable damage. So no matter what, you're taking 15 damage in the first phase of this fight when you knock him down below 57. Then when you take him below 37, he does the same again, 15 damage. So straight off the bat, you know, by the time he's in his last sort of phase where he's below 37 health, you're going to have taken 30 damage. So in theory, you're going to want to have buffed yourself, healed yourself, made sure you've got some protection before you go and take him below these thresholds. However, this is where the Desert Storm comes into play. Down here, it says, the boss has a pre-battle effect. All enemies receive the can't be targeted condition permanently during this battle. Don't worry, it does come off the heroes here. Once you get the boss into the final phase, that token gets removed from the enemies. But what does that do? If the enemies can't be targeted, in theory, you'd think, well, the boss can't target him. But up here, it does tell us, the boss, it says, you can target enemies that have that effect. So no matter what, the boss is going to be able to target you, okay? But when you can't be targeted, that means that if your ally, let's say the clairvoyant wants to cast, oh, I can't remember the name of one of his spells. I think it's called Disappear, possibly, or Healing Hands or something. She's got some evasion, and she's got some healing spells. Let's assume it's called Healing Hands. If she wants to cast Healing Hands, and on her board it shows a little green stick figure, that it represents the target icon. But if these guys have the can't be targeted from the Desert Storm, it means they can't actually target one another. They can't heal each other, they can't buff each other. That uses the targeting system. The only way that they could do that is if a spell said, for example, when you cast it, it might state the words, all allies gain 2 health, or all allies gain 10 health. Something like that would bypass the targeting system because it doesn't say target ally, okay? But most of our spells do use the targeting system. So the first sort of 60% of this battle is quite difficult because you're going to be receiving a lot of damage from these light blasts coming off the boss. You're going to be receiving damage from these moving sandstorm tokens all the time. And then secondly, you can't really be healing and buffing yourselves. So this battle, the first sort of 60% of it is a little bit of a race of time. You kind of need to get this boss down quickly so you can actually target one another. Okay? And then, I mean, without going too deep into the boss himself, he does have some other abilities. He's got these little snake pets. We can start summoning these. There's 4 of those there with this ability here called Sand Tremors. whilst there's a dice on Sand Tremors, every time that dice ticks down and changes value, a snake gets summoned to their ability tab here, which is this little golden bar there. Okay. So that is in a little bit of a nutshell, that's the Sunfire Serpent. So I'm going to